Hi, I'm Jack D'Angelo,
And I'm Juice Mavinack.
and this is the Motown Breakdown. So, Dries, unfortunately, the Bills beat the Lions.
Yep.
We moved to 12-2.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
So, I thought we played a phenomenal game. The problem was injuries on defense really got us. The Lions these last couple years under Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, they just can't contain mobile quarterbacks. We saw it against Justin Fields when he was on the Bears.
Yeah.
We saw it against the Ravens game last year against Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Right? If a team has a mobile quarterback, in Arizona this year as well, the Lions just get kind of confused of where the ball is going.
Yeah.
And now I get it. Anzalone would have helped. Rodriguez would have helped, right? The guys that are on the injured reserve would have helped. Hutchinson, right? But you still gotta, play to your strengths and adjust to your weaknesses. I mean, I think the one takeaway I'm going to take out of this is our offense is good.
Yeah. Like you're saying with the injuries, I am in no way a guy that likes to say, oh, well, we lost because of injuries, or, oh, we would have beat you. And, again, I don't want to take that stance, but
No.
we are down.
We are.
And I certainly feel like a 6-point game, that was the offense's fault. If we would have gotten going on at least one of those missed, drives in the first, half, we would have definitely we would have even won that game. But it's just, we have these things going for us now. It's again, we're not healthy.
Well, also play calling. Because we got lucky when Buffalo missed a 23-yarder. We get the ball, and I know Bates has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 50-yarder. Right? Even the best of the best missed those.
Yeah.
But I did not, during...
It seems like it was too quick.
During that sequence, I'm try and get a few yards. I get passing it on first down. I get that. But then second down, I would have kind of run it, or third down, run it and try and make that a 49, 48-yarder, make it a bit easy for him, get those 3 points.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about that onside kick with 12 minutes left to go in the game, and that puts them at the 3-yard line after basically a very good return from them?
I'm actually really glad that you asked me this question, because I have the very unpopular opinion that I think that it was necessary. It was just that and I'm not here to blame the special teams, but I really think that it was the special teams breakdown. I think it was a good choice by Dan Campbell or whoever called the onside kick to actually get it going. It was just I really don't think that we had enough coverage on that guy, and he was just able to take it down. Now, the one thing I will say is I certainly think that if we would have just done a regular kickoff, we wouldn't have gotten the ball.
Yeah.
I think it would have taken time off the clock. I think they would have gotten the touchdown anyway. So, to all the people saying out there that oh, that was a really stupid decision, I would argue that it was a very smart decision. It was just we didn't have a good special teams play.
Which is why we kind of kicked it straight at the very end. And, I thought we had that for a second.
I remember I was talking to my dad. I was like, do you believe in miracles? But unfortunately.
No, I'm actually, so I agree with you on the onside kick. I thought it was really necessary just because we were down by, I think 2 scores at that time, and we knew we were not going to get the ball if we just did a regular. I was actually happy that he returned that all the way to the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
I was very happy, and I was saying to myself, I'm like, maybe we could have just let him score. Let him score, we get the ball, and, but I actually think that could have been very bad if he got it and then got tackled right away, but that's on my opinion. Now, because of the loss and the Vikings win and the Eagles win, we are now tied with them. We hold the tiebreakers over them because of, I think, conference record, and we have the head-to-head with the Vikings. But this is now a scenario where we got to go and we have to win out.
Yeah, so there's a couple scenarios here. Obviously, 1 seed is going to be the hardest, but if we win our next 2, and of course the Vikings get one more loss, which I'm thinking they're going to lose against the Packers because I don't think they're as good of a team as they were.
Yeah.
But at that point, we would then clinch the division at least. And then, of course, we would have to win out or have the Eagles and Vikings both lose one.
Yeah.
And we could lose one.
Yeah.
Clinch the.
And I think we have an easier schedule than the Vikings. The Vikings have to play the Packers, and then they have to play the Seahawks, and then they have to play us.
Yeah.
We have to play the Bears. We have to play the 49ers, and then we obviously have to play the Vikings. But we just got to win 2 of those games, and we win the division.
Yeah.
And I know that number 1 seed is sacred, and we really want it because then we get home field advantage the whole way. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the way.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to bring this over to the Detroit Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
And recently they signed Vladimir Tarasenko.
Yeah.
And he has just not turned out for, the Red Wings. I mean, it didn't seem like they put a lot into him, but it's just like we've discussed this before. They're in a tight race for the playoffs.
Yes.
And there's a expectation for this. So like you need to like try to get somewhere.
I think it's just been a down year for the Red Wings as a whole, because after missing the playoffs in the final game, you expect to make a bigger push, and now you're basically, some might say, in a worse spot than you were the year before. Like, you're not in the same exact spot. I think you're, a bit worse, but this there's still plenty of time left to go and get a wild card spot. But Vladimir, I know, hasn't had his year, but frankly, almost nobody has on that team.
Yeah,
nobody has. Patrick Kane has not. Larkin has not. And it's a shame because, going into this season, we're like, the Lions are, favored to go to the NFC Championship game again and possibly go to the Super Bowl and maybe win it. The Tigers just made a very, very impressive run in the playoffs, and now the Red Wings.
Yeah.
And then, so now the Red Wings have slipped, but I still think we're early enough in the season where I think, hopefully they can pick this back up. But if this happens for 4 more weeks, we might see a scenario where,
we don't make the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah.
And, the current situation is things in the East. We're 3 points from last place in the division, but we are 5 points back from the second wild card.
And, so our division is good. Like, the Lions division is good. The Red Wings division is good. It's just, and you have to play those teams 4 times a season, so you play them a lot. That just tells you how good our division is, but that tells you how many games we could possibly lose if we're that far back in the division. There's still a possibility. Obviously, we're 5 points back from the second wild card spot, but we need to now, I think, lock in, and with our division games, we got to win those. Against the bad teams, we have to win those. Against the same teams as us, we have to win those, and we have to make it competitive against the very good teams.
Yeah.
So let's get to the Pistons. They won last night. Phenomenal game.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler put up a triple-double, which is impressive that they did not win.
Yeah, but Cade Cunningham, whoo.
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. They're 11-16, 2-1 in the last 3. They are playing, they're playing very good ball. 11-16, I know it's, you really want to be, 500 and better. But for this Pistons team, who had 4 wins at the end of, I think, December last year, and now to have 11 before Christmas, that's kind of where you want to be.
It's certainly an improvement. I feel like 2-1 in the last 3. That's kind of a nitpick stat. But at the same time, that's amazing.
Yes.
Compared to what was it? We lost 29 straight.
29 straight. Yeah.
Yeah. So to go 2-1 in the last 3 might be a little bit nitpick, but I also think that we're improving, and the expectation, we've discussed this before, it's not very high. But
no.
It's to be 11-16 is awesome.
Yeah, I think they're on the right trajectory. Hopefully, they find a piece or two within the next couple seasons, and in 3 years, we're looking at, maybe a deep run in the playoffs, being the 5th seed, something like that. But, we'll see. I want to get your opinion about this. Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I saw that. That seems like a little bit of a throwaway, just kind of news story thing, but that would be interesting. I certainly feel like, with Pelicans, they're not awesome.
Yeah.
And, to get someone like Zion Williamson, I mean, he was, seen as one of, he was going to be the best. He was going to be one of the best. Maybe not the best, but he was going to be one of the best coming out of Duke.
Yeah.
But now he's like.
It hasn't panned out for him.
I would say that would be an okay signing. I certainly think that it's, I mean, not to go back to the Lions, but you think about Jamal Adams. He was very good on the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. So it's like, can you do something with him? Do you think you could, improve him something mentally? It's just, that's the question.
It's also, we have like a lot of bigs. I like Jalen Duren. I know Isaiah Stewart, like he's there. I mean, we could use him at power forward, but, we're kind of lacking at that position. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, because I know, you have a lot of things to question. You want to improve, so you get the better players. He could start for you almost automatically, but then it's like, okay, then you enter the offseason, and that's where he gets into trouble.
Yeah.
Not legal trouble, but like he just
overall,
I mean, he doesn't pay attention to his body. He gained over, I think he was over 300 pounds after he got injured. It's like, you don't want that. A team does
on
not
your team,
want. So now I will say, so as we were talking about, the Tigers made a push to the playoffs, and they had some pitching difficulties.
Yeah.
They just got out and they signed 37-year-old Alex Cobb to a 1-year, $15 million deal. I like this. But here's where I stand on this. And, let me know if you have a different opinion. But if we are in the playoff race or close to it, we're going to keep him by the deadline. If not, we're going to trade him. I'm going to trade him away for, somebody who's in the minor leagues and is an okay prospect. So, I mean,
yeah. I don't really know how to feel. I mean, I think that it was working a little bit, but I feel like Jerry Scoobel was kind of like, he was keeping us around. Mm-hmm. And, I just don't think that there's a lot of depth in that, we don't have like it's like a going from like this, top to almost like bottom. Like we don't really have there's no like filler there. There's no one who's, like not like amazing, but there's nobody that's, even just decent.
Yeah, we had Montero, but he was on and off.
Yeah.
And I don't want to even mention Maeda. Oh my God.
I was actually happy about Maeda. I thought he was going to do well, and then I saw him play, and I was like, oh my God.
I always knew he was a guy. He won games. I always knew that he gave up a lot of hits, a lot of runs. I got that. But when he just came here, he just
did horrible.
It just did awful.
It wasn't pretty.
I mean, and now speaking of trades and signings, I heard a rumor that Michael Parsons' dad wants him to come to Detroit to play opposite of Aiden Hutchinson and, help this team out. What do you feel about that?
I think that'd be expensive. Obviously, I mean, if we can get him cheap and it doesn't take up a lot of cap space, I'm all for it. He's an awesome edge, but at the same time, I don't think that that's a realistic, thing to pursue. I mean, with the whole Zadarius Smith thing, we probably would have pursued somebody else if, that had been available, but we weren't looking for that.
No.
And I don't think we're going to be looking for that. We're going to look through the draft to see if we can get somebody.
Yeah, I think...
with Jack Sawyer, that's who I think we're good.
Yeah, I think he would be good. I will like to see, though, what we do. I think we're obviously keep Zadarius Smith. I really want to. I'm willing to give Marcus Davenport one more shot. I know we signed him for a 1-year deal. I want to give him one more shot because he really didn't prove,
anything yet.
He hasn't proved anything yet, but he didn't get the chance to prove anything yet. So it was kind of like Emmanuel Mosley, and that is so unfortunate. I just feel so bad because we know he's been good when he was on the 49ers. And, he comes here and he just tears his ACL, and then it was just awful.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see what the Lions do, trying to make a push for the playoffs, kind of excited but nervous for this team, but we'll see.
All right. That's Motown Breakdown. Thank you.
Thank you.